Hey, this is Chris Ballou from the professional rock and roll band, The Presidents of the United States of America. Also, the guy who makes music for your little babies as Casper Baby Pants. And you are listening to No Good Music. And I ought to know.
Can you fill in the blanks? Can you fill in the blanks and tell me what was it like to be and not to be free? Primal feelings, joyful screaming. Is this why we're made to forget? This must be why we're made to forget. You don't know me, we are glowing. I can see your heart pumping light, see your heart sparkle and shine. Hey, newborn human, tell me what was it like?
So I have a special guest with me today. He's a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. You may know him from the band Balls or Eggs, maybe Chris and Tad, possibly the Giraffes, or even Casper Baby Pants.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I'm forgetting one. Oh, he once led one of the greatest bands of the 90s, the Presidents of the United States of America. He just released his 11th solo album, Newborn Human. Let's all welcome back to No Good Music, Mr. Chris Ballou.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Wow.
Whoa, jeez.
Oh, look at
I didn't realize there were that many people in here.
it. And how little they all are.
Yeah.
They're tiny. Wow, thank you very much. That really made my day to hear you lead with the band Balls.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, you were in you had a lot of projects. We'll get to that. I actually want to start with your new album.
Cool.
We're going to start with that.
Great.
And like I said, Newborn Human, released July 17th. And you're very prolific because this is your 11th album in 5 years.
Right.
Am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Now, when we last spoke, which was a couple years ago, you said you probably had enough material for another. I think you said another 4 albums.
Mm.
So I'm wondering, is this new album? Are these new songs, or are some new, some old?
That is a good question. They're kind of a mix. Actually, I need to actually look at the songs to remember because I make so many albums, I can't remember what's on them.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on a second here. Yeah, so it's a mix, really. There's a couple songs that are quite old, that are maybe the song Speed of Sound, Speed of Light. That one came about maybe when I was on album 2.
Okay.
But it just never really. Some of the trick with this is how I work is I'm working on a bunch of songs that are all in different stages of being finished. Some are raw, just sketches, and some are all the way up to final mixes. And when it comes time to make a record, I kind of skim the songs that I like the most off the top of the barrel of songs, and then it's a matter of putting them together like a puzzle, so that they flow as an album. And for some reason, Speed of Sound, Speed of Light, the second song on this album, just never fit. And then all of a sudden, it fit. It's kind of funny. I have to sort of tamp down my ego when I'm sequencing a record because typically. I might be excited about a song that I just recorded and the album deadline's coming up. I'm like, oh, this song's got to be on the album. But inevitably, I'm happy I waited because something will come up later, like, oh, it's in the wrong key, or these lyrics need to be changed, or it's too noisy and messy. And so a lot of it is kind of letting songs breathe and waiting for their time to come patiently so that I don't release something that I have regrets about later. Like, regrets are unavoidable in some degree, but I don't want to release a song that's completely from lyrically wrong or whatever. But yeah, so it's a mix. It's a big mix on this album, as it is on all of them.
And if you have a good ear for music, which, yeah, I know what you're saying, where that song, when you hear the other songs together, Yeah, you'll know if it doesn't fit or not. And I
Yeah.
assume you would have like maybe even pieces of songs that you go back to, like parts of songs and
Oh yeah. Absolutely. In fact, one of the songs on this record, Hollow Feeling,
yes.
that was a very tiny little instrumental scrap for years and years. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, and it was called Hollow Feeling, but it was just an instrumental. And then I had this memory of being a kid at Christmas time, like a little, like 6, 7, 8 year old kid, and getting presents. And the
Hmm.
moment after I opened the present, the thrill of like tearing off the wrapping paper and seeing that it was exactly what I wanted, I felt this like, oh, like,
Yeah, it's over. It's
yeah, it's
the
over. It's
build up. Yeah, the build up.
yeah. I think
The-
too. What I took away from it was, okay, this is not where I will get my happiness. My happiness will not be achieved through acquiring things and
mhm.
consuming and filling that void with items. And even as a little kid, I kind of recognized, ooh, what's that? That's a message that's telling me that this is not the way to go.
Yeah.
So anyway, that song you could argue took, let's see, if I was 5 years, 7 years old, it took 55 years to complete
Hmm.
because the idea came when I was 7.
No one has my back by popular demand. No one is more vulnerable when they reach out their hand. No one takes their orders from a child on a throne. No one is to blame for burning down her home. Everybody's sorry about the beautiful mistake. Everybody's fragile and sleeping while awake. Everybody's starving to be lazy and be led. Everybody's passing out full but barely fed.
But isn't there, okay, that song, isn't there sort of a political? I know you don't, I know your songs are, like a lot of your songs are, they're lighthearted. They're, I mean, in a
Yeah.
way, but
Yeah. Although lyrically, with these new solo records, I am allowing myself to be a little more complex as I play with
yeah.
ideas and emotions in the lyrics and imagery. One of the things I love about this phase I'm in is I'm kind of disconnecting from the, storytelling or character development in a
Hmm.
song.
Yeah.
Here's a song about a dune buggy, little blue dune buggy.
Yeah.
As opposed to here's a song about, death.
Yeah.
But maybe the death song, I might put a nice little, pop music bow on it. I
Hmm.
always kind of think about John Lennon when he was singing Help. He really was asking for help,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's a very bouncy number.
And sort of like, I'll bring up Weird Al, who I know you're friends with. And
Yes.
yeah, if you listen to Weird Al and his original songs are just,
Hmm.
they're, they're, they're maniacal. Like some of them, but they make you laugh for some reason, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and
Absolutely.
so last night I was at Music Fest in Bethlehem, which, I'm on the border kind of New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so it's only, my friend lives over there in Bethlehem. And it's 10 days of music. It's a great thing for, this area. And
Hmm.
Weird Al they have a main stage, and Weird Al was playing last night, but unfortunately I didn't go see him. I brought a CD booklet with me, and I
Hmm.
said to my friend, there's a 1% chance maybe we'll run into Weird Al.
Yeah.
He was at Hershey, I think last week,
Uh-huh.
and the day before he was seen going on the rides and stuff,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. He loves life, man. He loves to live.
yeah.
This tour he's on right now, too, is a sort of a blast from the past tour in a way. He's back to wearing the costumes. He went
Okay.
on a few tours where it was just stripped down from all the videos and costumes and stuff, and
Hmm.
was playing, sitting down, chilling
Yeah.
out a little bit. But now he's back in full form with the full show. So I'm going to see him. He's coming through in September. I'm going to.
I do have a question here about do you think there'll ever be an opportunity to write a song with Weird Al, or have you?
No,
I don't
well,
think you have. But.
In the early day, in the early days of our friendship, in the late '90s, um, I was in my studio making music, and I had this brilliant idea for a parody song that
Hmm.
I thought Weird Al would love. And I'd had a few scotches. We'll have to qualify with that. Qualify my behavior through the
Hmm.
filter of
You
three
get a little
giant.
bit more bold sometimes.
Yeah, you get a little
Yeah.
bold. So I
Like in
called him
now
up.
with texting and
Yeah.
you anyway.
Yeah, there was no texting back then. I could have
Oh, okay.
texted him the idea, but really, I was like, I'm going to pitch him on it. So I called him on the phone. It's like 10 o'clock at night. He answers, and I'm like, well, Al, I've got this great idea for a song. So it's a parody of the REM song Everybody Hurts,
Hmm.
except it's Everybody Poops. And the video would be the same as the REM video with people stuck in cars on a
Hmm.
highway overpass, and it's zeroing in on the person's face in the car and then like a subtitle of what they're thinking. But instead of like, I should have told her I loved her or whatever these poignant little thoughts were in the REM
Hmm.
video, I'd be like, I should have used the toilet before I left home. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not going to be able to hold it in,
Hmm.
and it would crescendo to a shot that was like set on a salt flat in Utah, and there's a porta potty like 2 miles away that's tiny, and the camera starts rocketing toward the porta potty as the
Uh-huh.
song is building, and then right as the camera gets to the porta potty, the door slams open and Al's in the porta
Hmm.
potty, and you're seeing him for the first time in the entire video because it's all these other
Hmm.
people, and he goes. And it goes like everybody poops, bam, sometimes. So hold on, and it's just like this. Hold on is perfect. It's from the original song, but you don't change that lyric. Anyway, I finished this like breathless pitch.
I'm gonna say, I was gonna say, did you, what you just told me, is that what
Yeah,
you had
that's
all these ideas?
all they said is I was like, I can see this video. It's so done in my mind. And there's like silence on the other end of the line. He's like, Chris, I know we're just still getting to know each other, but
Yeah.
I don't do any parodies that are suggested to me by other people.
Oh.
I prefer to like I'm not sure exactly why. I think there's a uh, you know um, kind of legality to who owns what. If a third
Hmm.
party's coming in pitching him an idea that gets more complicated, his piece of the pie might get smaller.
Yeah.
But I think it was more just like he wanted to generate his own ideas, which I
Yeah.
respect. So anyway, it was a big no, but and then years later we laughed about it. So it's
And
a
if it's
fond
out
memory.
there where you're accepting people's ideas, then you're gonna have someone come along that say, and he actually does a song, and they're like, that was my idea,
Or
So
you could have people.
you have
You
to
could have,
kind of be a little
yeah.
cautious,
Yeah, you
you know.
could have people coming out of the woodwork like "Eat It" was my idea,
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of thing. But anyway, that's a fond memory, and I still can see the video in my head, and I love it.
I think there's aren't there books now? Everybody poops.
Yes, it's a kid's
Yeah,
book. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Okay.
you could integrate that too into it. It could be like in one of the cars. One of the cars is like a cartoon car with a kid in it, and from the book.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah,
get. I think you'd have to get their permission now.
I'm
Teach.
sure I bet they would be thrilled.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was 30 years ago. So
So your new. Let's back to your new album.
yes.
Do you have? I noticed you have like four or five other like producers on the album. Are those also participants in the music, or is it all you doing the music, the vocals, all that?
Yeah, as far as what's committed to tape, quote unquote, it's me. It's all
Mm,
me. Those people are sort of like they give me their impressions. We set up a system where it's like gold to bronze, like a grade. And then they will maybe have little comments like, not feeling these lyrics or, oh my God, this one's incredible, whatever like that. And I have a spreadsheet that I keep maintaining that has the song titles, notes from myself and from them about what to
oh,
do,
okay.
try, and then the column of like grades: gold, silver, bronze, gold plus plus, whatever, silver minus. They get very, very fine. But yeah, so those people are really like kind of listeners. I call them co-producers because in some cases their suggestions are pretty dramatic, and I'll reconstruct a song based on some of their feedback. But they're not in the studio with me. They're not like, getting super specific. Generally, it's
Hmm.
more of a what's is the vibe working? Is the
Like a
messaging
music
clear?
consultant,
Yeah, yeah,
sort
yeah.
of.
And then I have another guy who's unfortunately been super busy with his own career, but Pete Droge is a singer-songwriter, and he has really good technical ears. So he would be my sort of mastering listen. He would say, like, there's too much cluttered in the low end on this song, or there's too much high end over here, or
Hmm.
something like that. So anyway, between those four collaborators and Pete, they kind of help me keep the music focused and clear, and they're kind of there to make sure I'm successfully saying what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
good to have another set of ears, you know.
Yeah, it really does help. If a lot of times when they give me feedback, I'm like, I was already thinking it, or
Hmm.
my gut feeling was, okay, this song is too long and has too many choruses or whatever. But then somebody in the group says it, and I'm like, yeah, I knew that. But it is great. Their help is invaluable, and it's really fun to get outside opinions when things are raw.
Is this music programmed, or do you actually try not to, you know,
Yeah.
or are there some instruments? Because the one song sounds like it's an old Wurlitzer, organ. How are the songs like put
Oh, yeah.
together in the
Yeah,
studio?
technically, I mean, I use Pro Tools, and I
Hmm.
just have a laptop with Pro Tools, an M box, couple speakers, headphones, and a mic, and a
Okay.
guitar amp with a bunch of effects pedals piled on top of it. And I have
Okay.
this Yamaha P121 piano, which has really great basic piano, electric piano, clavinet kind of sounds that I play with. And then I also hook that into an iPad, and the iPad has all the synthesizers on it, like
Okay.
like 80s synthesizers, like the Juno 60 is my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
So really, I treat Pro Tools like a big fancy tape deck. So I'm not doing any MIDI. I'm taking drum beats. I'm making drum beats in GarageBand in a lot of cases and importing them. Or I'll use GarageBand has a really cool selection of like vintage break samples and old weird, percussion samples.
Hmm.
So I kind of mine that for, ideas in the early stages. So yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I play a four-string bass. I play a lot of synth bass on it, but it's really all me playing everything.
Yeah.
In the early, sometimes I'll demo a song in GarageBand on my laptop, and I'll do a solo or something in there that I really love, and I'll import that over into a Pro Tools. But that's kind of a rare occurrence. So yeah, it's really me pretending that I'm working with a very versatile analog tape deck. Yeah.
See, I use MPC Beats, it's called, and I only use that because I bought a keyboard last year that came
Mhm.
with it. So I'm doing some, just playing around with instrumental. But I feel that, like you said, you plug your guitar in it, like there's still not, I don't think there's sounds that can mimic playing a guitar, certain instruments,
No, and
you know.
some of the sounds in GarageBand, like there is like a sort of a surfy tremolo guitar, and I'll use it not to try to sound like a real guitar, but just to be that sound. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I like using sort of fakey strings and fakey woodwinds. I like sort of the like the primary color equivalent to classic sounds sometimes, like
Hmm.
instead of trying to really make it feel like real strings, I'll just kind of let it sound like fake strings. And that to me is kind of okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I'm really playing everything myself. As the other thing that's happening is I'm looping stuff a lot because I really enjoy having an aspect to each song be sort of
Hmm.
repetitive and hypnotic and comforting in that way where you're like, okay, I'm in a groove and I'm going to stay here. Other songs kind of are about shaking up the groove and have real distinct parts, but I kind of have a healthy number of songs that are sort of based. in a groove. So I'll do like when I'm doing that, I might play the bass line for, a couple measures and then just cut it and make it fit with the template of the session and then just go and just copy it out.
Hmm.
And then inevitably I'll be like, okay, after 2 minutes of that, I need some variety. So I'll, do another bass line in there. That is another way. That's a main way that I'm using technology to kind of extend my ideas into something that's immediately like I can throw together a 2.5 minute demo super fast with this sort of like repeating parts
Yeah, yeah.
methodology. So
You probably have more songs in the that aren't on the album. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. I've got some really exciting stuff coming down the pike.
hmm
Yeah, I think right now I'm sitting on something like 70 songs that are, I have like I said,
wow.
a spreadsheet with all the notes.
Hmm.
Maybe a quarter of them are almost album ready, and the rest need work and lyrical
Hmm.
shoring up, stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot. There's like 70 sitting there, and I don't think there's a dud in the batch, but that's my ego.
Hmm. Now, how do you keep
So,
track of, say, if they don't have lyrics? How do
hmm.
you do you just number them, or you? I'm just
Yeah, I have in my studio folder. I'll go there now, actually. I've got my spreadsheet, which I use daily to kind of make note. Like I'll listen at the end of the day. I like to strap on the headphones and listen to a couple songs and just like,
okay.
okay, tweak that, tweak that, tweak that.
Yeah, yeah.
I make little notes. I've got a folder full of demos, which are all sort of early versions of the songs that have gone on to be real songs, or it's early versions, and then the song has split off into a whole nother vibe. And but that early version might still be useful for a new song. Those I turn into instrumentals and put them in a folder that are just numbered, 1 through 38 or whatever. And sometimes if I'm looking for inspiration, I'll go to that. That folder I call raw poo, which is what I've always called my like, micro cassette or, cassette tape compilations of scrappy ideas. I've always called it raw poo.
Hmm.
So I've still got raw poo going on. We've got a lyric folder which has all the lyrics for all the songs I'm working on and all the different versions that I've rewritten and kind of tightened up or loosened up or whatever. And then I've got songs, which are the songs that are sort of in the pipeline to be on future records. And then as I do new mixes, I number the mixes. So if I'm looking at my song folder right now, I've got some that are like mix 3, mix 5, and then some are like mix 33, mix 18.
Wow. Yeah.
I've got one song I think that's like on mix number 45. So yeah, that's one song. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, here we go. It's a song called Nothing's Wrong, and I wrote it when I was making the first solo record, and it has gone through so many changes. It's mix 42, which I think is a new record for me. Usually they hover around 15 to 20 in order to get them dialed in. But yeah, so
Now, do you just listen to them through your headphones? I put together like 7 songs, and I burned them to a CD, and then
uh-huh.
I played them on my stereo, and I'm like, okay, that needs to come down. I mean,
Mm.
I guess I don't have. I mean, I got a decent pair of headphones, but not, I don't have like $500 headphones. So I like.
Yeah.
Plus, I have hearing problems. So I'm just. How do
Mm,
you?
me too.
Because from computer or from headphone to the stereos may sound different, or in your
Oh
car.
yeah.
So I
Well,
don't know if you do anything like that before you put out your album.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I technically master my own albums. So, and the mastering
Okay.
process for me is just listening on over and over listening and making notes and tweaking on
Okay.
different formats. Like I have
Okay.
these AKG DT 770s. I love. I actually mixed this last record almost exclusively on these headphones because they're
Okay.
just. But then I have these French monitors called focals, and when I have the headphones on in the studio and I'm tracking, it's exciting. It's right in your ears. And
Yeah.
typically, when you take the headphones off and you go to your monitors, it's like, oh, it's a little disappointing. It's got to be hyped up.
Yeah.
But in this case, my goal is always with how I monitor the sounds is to have consistency, transparency, kind of between the headphones and the speakers, so that when I take the headphones off, it's not a bummer all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And the car, I have given up on doing a mastering mix in the car because so many cars have this high-end fragileness, like not the super crispy high end, but the sort of honky, kind of distorty, honky high mids. And if I try to master in the car, every single song is like, ooh, I got to turn down the 12K, got to turn it down, got to tame those vocals, got to get rid of that, this and that.
Yeah.
And then I'll do that, and the song sounds dull on my
Like mud
headphones.
or something.
Yeah, on my speakers. So I think I'm kind of done trying to make sure the car is a good place to listen to music. I've had Priuses, I've had Toyotas, and I've had a Kia. And the Kia's a little better. The Priuses were awful for like terrible spikes. And then I have these Mackie open back headphones that I use in the studio for tracking. Because I like open back. I like being able to hear the room, my voice in the room, not just isolated in the speakers. And it creates a little bleed, like you can hear the speakers, but I don't really bother with caring about that unless it's obtrusive. So
I have a constant ringing in my ear, so it doesn't help, but
I do too.
but I still listen to listening to music.
I know you got to keep going. I was very cautious in the early days. Well, actually, I was not cautious in the early days of the Presidents, but then when we got signed and got on the tour, I wore, when I was with Beck, I wore like airport tarmac worker noise canceling, cheapo hardware store headphones. People told when we play in Seattle and my friends came to see me with Beck, they said that I looked like I was receiving messages from outer space. I had these giant ear protectors on. And then I got in-ear earplugs, and then I went to in-ear monitors. And so I've been pretty proactive with it, but I still have ringing in my ears. And I've sort of been able to talk myself around it. I've got this philosophy where if I hear it, I'm just like, well, that is the sound of my purpose on the planet, is to make music, and every job wears a part of you down, and that's the part that's getting worn down. And then I reach out and I imagine that I'm turning down a giant volume knob, and I'm like, that's good. I'm turning down the volume on my ringing, and it kind of I have to do it a lot, but it works. It kind of like builds a new pathway in my mind that's not bothered by it. So
you have a constant ringing in both ears, or one? I have one ear.
More the left ear, because that one is the one that faced the drum kit for a long time. So, and then when I had in-ear monitors, I had an early iteration of them where the plastic over time tended to shrink, and that meant that the seal was not good. So I didn't know that's what was happening. I went in for the second pair, and they're like, oh yeah, we've improved the plastic so it doesn't shrink anymore. And I'm like, shrink? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I was pushing them in all the times and turning them up, and there was a phase there where I was doing more damage than good with the in-ears. But anyway, it's a cost of doing business, I guess.
So this album, the new album, is that only a streaming album? Is there any like physical copies?
Yeah, the way I'm doing the physical is I'm not doing a 1-for-1 vinyl to album, because the albums are a little long for that. They're like 49 minutes, and you want to be around 20 to 22 per side. And I don't want to cut songs off. So every 4 albums, I put out a vinyl of the singles from the 4 albums that, in question. Like, so it's album 1 through 4, and then I put out volume 1, which is the singles from those 4 records. And then I've got volume 2, which is singles from 5 through 8. And I'm sure I'll do a volume 3 when I get through to album number. What would
I think
be?
You're on
4,
11.
5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh yeah, on 12. Yeah, the next album is when I can put together volume 3. So I think I'm going to make it to volume 4. I think I'm going to make it to 16 albums. That's kind of that feels like a good goal. So that's really the only physical thing I'm doing. And those are, volume 2 is out and about. You can totally get it everywhere you get vinyl records, if my distributor's doing their job. Volume 1 got mixed up with a company called Bandbox. They went bankrupt, and so a lot of people didn't get their albums, and I'm trying to make that right now. I've reissued that one myself. Bandbox took care of production on the first round, but like I said, they went bankrupt and it was a mess. So any day now, I should be getting those, and then volume 1 will be retroactively available everywhere, and then volume 3. So
Okay.
that's my pitch on that.
I know when we spoke before the first interview, because of your hearing, I don't think you do. Do you do shows anymore? Do you do like even local? Do you do any acoustic show or like to promote your new albums? Do you
Yeah,
do
no,
anything like that?
no, I don't. And what happened was when the pandemic hit, I had a full schedule of Casper Baby Pants shows to do, which are not the kind of shows that damage my ears. So I felt really happy doing those for a bunch of years. But I had to cancel everything when the pandemic hit, and I felt this overwhelming feeling of relief. I wasn't sad, I was relieved. And I kind of drilled down on that feeling and realized that playing live, while I was very good at it and could do it, it was part of my job and everything, it was taking a toll on my nervous system. You know, it's like it's a lot of pressure to be under, especially when
Hmm.
you're somebody like me who's done thousands of shows. It just sort of became clear that I needed to reset my nervous system and take a break, which, the pandemic forced that hand. But then
Hmm.
even when things started to open up, I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to go back. So I'm sort of still in this mode where I think about playing live. And then I think, well, what would I do? Would it just be me alone with a guitar and maybe I'd play some piano and try to sing these songs? I don't know. I wouldn't really feel like that was doing them justice, maybe. And then I think about
Yeah.
hiring players and putting a band together, and immediately the to-do list just goes like
Oh
bam,
yeah.
and it gets
Yeah.
really long. And I'm enjoying retirement basically from
Yeah.
those pressures. All this solo music I'm making under zero pressure. I'm not trying to take over the world or convince anybody that I'm cool. I'm just like a guy who goes into his garage on the weekends and makes beautiful chairs. And
Yep.
nobody's ordering the chairs,
I
and
was going to ask you if you were still making
I'm
chairs.
still making chairs. Yeah, whenever I sort of get over my skis, like, hey, this should be huge. What's going on? Not really, but when I start, I don't look at the numbers for how many albums I've streamed very often or whatever. When I do, I can feel myself getting caught up in that sort of
Yeah,
aspirational
yeah.
feedback
Yeah, you
loop. And I
can't.
just go like,
Yeah.
remind myself, nobody cares. I'm just making chairs.
Hmm.
So, but then some people do care. I'm starting to get little emails from out in the darkness saying that people are appreciating the solo records. So, that feels good too.
Yeah, I like this new album that like I honestly I put you on shuffle, but I haven't really listened to the albums, complete like I did this one. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've definitely sequencing is a big deal to me. So for those people that do experience records that way, I want them to be taken care of as far as having a curatorial experience.
yeah, yeah.
But then I don't mind if people want to just hop around or just listen to the hits or whatever.
I normally listen to an album track one to the last
Yeah,
track,
so do I. I really enjoy that because you really get that arc of intention, like that somebody's put energy into, assuming they
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Either that or
But
you get a really bad experience of somebody who has spent zero time thinking about how the songs fit together.
so I collect, as you can see behind me,
Yeah.
vinyl. Yeah, and so I'd still put on an album and sit in here. The lights dim. I have a beer, and I listen to side one, get up, side two
Yeah.
over, and
That's
I
good.
listen to CDs too.
I guess CDs are kind of a hot item with the kids these days because they're so cheap.
Yeah, CDs now are, I think, outselling vinyl. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
It's so funny how it flows.
I had this whole thing with just another thing that started out vinyls coming back. People were buying the used albums plus, but now it's become a money making, and I've stopped buying like like a lot of new albums because there's so much.
Yeah, it's fetishized, like
Yeah.
it's not keeping the consumer front of mind. That's why my records are no frills. They're just black vinyl, 140 gram,
Hmm.
basic. It's about the music. I don't really need it. The bandbox version I did was very flashy and it had a full color zine and all this stuff. The reissue I'm doing for volume one doesn't have that. So I'm keeping the price to 19.95 or
Yeah,
20,
yeah,
$20. But yeah, so I don't want people to have to pull their hair out. And I've already pulled mine out. So
yeah,
so you don't have to.
yeah. The newest one, like the Stones, the new album, the Rolling
Yeah.
Stones, they
I've
did
heard of that.
not put out a single black vinyl for purchase. And it's a double vinyl and it's $50. And I would have bought it. And I think a lot of people would have. And yeah, it's some people are like, well, if it was say it was $25, it's only $25, but it's $25 more. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I know I aesthetically and nostalgically, I love black vinyl because that's
mhm,
what I grew up listening to. It's
yeah,
like this, it's that deep, dark black. That's the void where the music is being pulled out of. It's like this
yeah,
universe in a vinyl disc that I love. Plus, I gotta say, a lot of colored vinyl, except when it's one color, I don't mind that. But when it's a splatter kind of stuff and like
yeah,
it's so ugly, it
yeah.
looks like an Oompa Loompa got sick all over it or
Uh-huh.
something. It's bad. Ugh.
So just one more thing about the Stones is that, me being irritated that there's not a single black, vinyl that they were selling is that they came out with all these variants of the
Yeah,
double. And
yeah.
believe it or not, get this, there's Spider-Man for some odd reason.
What?
Yeah. There's a NASCAR one and there's sports teams.
Wait a minute. Are they selling space on their records as advertising?
Well, the cover, like it's a Spider-Man cover. I have no idea. And that's irritating when I just want the black vinyl version. And
Yeah.
like I think a lot of people just want the black vinyl. You and I, we're the same age. Why do I want Spider-Man? I want to hear the Stones. And what does that have to do with the Rolling Stones?
Oh my
Anyway,
God, that I understand what you're saying, and that is weird, and that does feel like they're getting paid to do that, and
yeah,
that is a whole level of commercialism that I'd never even considered. Oh my God,
yeah.
that's
But to leave
earth-shattering.
out the people who don't want to spend 50
Yeah,
bucks, that's
I know.
just insane.
Again, it's
Yeah.
fetishizing something that's should be very workmanlike and basic as an option. You don't
Yeah.
want to lose that option of just like, I want to hear the music. There's a little bit of a theory too that the colored vinyl is a little more muffly sounding than straight black. And also the 180 gram thing is just a total waste of time.
Yeah.
Totally not
Oh
inf
yeah.
has no influence over the durability of the vinyl or the sound or anything. It's just a thing
Hmm.
that makes people spend more money.
Yeah. So I'll buy used albums, but I have noticed there is a variation even with the used. They weren't doing the 180 gram. There's some albums that are really flimsy, like I noticed, and
Yeah.
then some that aren't as flimsy. So I don't know. Guess it
Well,
depended on the
I
record
think some
plant.
of them, I think you get into trouble when you get too flimsy. I like 140 gram because it's kind of right in the middle, but
Hmm.
I think some
Yeah.
of the Beatles records I had when I was a kid were like 120 or 110, and they
Okay.
were
Yeah.
just like, they
Yeah. Some
almost
of them
feel
are
like
thick.
flexi discs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like you get in like Mad Magazine or
Yeah, you can flap them in the
those.
wind.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about your sense of humor
Okay.
because you and I, again, we're the same age. The age of 11, I started watching Saturday Night Live. My parents would
Mm.
go to bed and they didn't know what I was watching. And I
Yep.
still watch it, good or bad. But I think that's where I have an odd sense of humor.
Yeah.
I like odd comedy, and I think that's why I'm attracted to bands like President and also, They Might Be Giants,
Mhm.
Cake, bands like that are a little quirky.
Yes.
Um, so where do were your parents funny people? Were you like, where did you get because I think you have a little odd sense of humor, like in your lyrics. They're not
Yeah.
straightforward.
It's definitely something I played with, and to one degree or another, like it's less prevalent now in the solo stuff I'm doing, but I still like to play with words and make the words have alliteration and make them sort of fit together like puzzle pieces. so that if people do hang around long enough to actually get into the lyrics, there's something there that's kind of, you know, through a humorous lens for sure. My parents, I was just like you. I watched Saturday Night Live starting it from episode one, loved
Hmm.
it. I somehow, when I was a kid, when I was about 10, I saved up enough money to buy a tiny little television and I hid it in my room. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and watch UHF channels, like movies on UHF, weird like
Hmm.
sci-fi
Okay.
monster movies. But I also used it to sneak Saturday Night Live. And my parents found out that I was watching Saturday Night Live, and they're like, well, we don't know. This is, not cool for kids. So
Hmm.
my dad was like, I'll watch it this Saturday night and make a ruling on whether you can see it or not. And
Really?
yeah, so Saturday night came and he stayed up late and he watched it, but I snuck down from my bedroom and went and stood right behind him in his den where he was watching TV. And it was one of the raunchiest episodes ever. And of course, the determination was no good. But
Yeah.
then again, so my parents weren't humorless, though. I mean, they love a good story. Like a funny story is my whole family's MO, and my whole family loves to laugh. My dad grew up a sharecropper's son in the 20s and 30s in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
And anything that was out of the ordinary and was the least bit funny was milked to death because there was nothing to do and nothing to break the monotony of farming but stories. And funny stories were the best because they just alleviated a lot of depression and
So,
sadness.
so were your parents, did they have you when they were older? Because my parents did too, like when they were
Yeah,
like 40. My
yeah.
dad was born in 1925.
My dad was born in 21.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
my mom was 26, 1926. But
yeah.
they were married first to different people, and then when they got married, they had me, and my
I
mom was
see.
probably 40. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've since passed.
my mom was I think 40 also, and my dad was 44. I remember that because when he was 55, I was 11. When he was 66, I was
Oh,
22. When he was
well,
77, I was
okay. Yeah,
33. When he was
yeah.
88, I was 44. Yeah. Yeah, and then my mom too just was hilarious and loved to laugh. So anyway, I have a
Mhm.
big family reunion coming up on Saturday and I'm planning on laughing a lot.
Great.
So it's inherited.
Hmm.
But yeah, comedy too. Stand-up comedy is super important to me. A lot of the music I'm writing now and the lyrics, they're about, being aware of consciousness and finding peace and meditation and negotiating with your ego and your keeping your body working and aging and all that kind of stuff. And my three favorite comedians have the same attribute, which is, well, they are Mitch Hedberg, Stephen Wright,
Okay.
and Emo Phillips.
Okay.
Those three, I think, are so good at creating a reality really quickly with a setup and then breaking that reality. And when they break it, I think that's what gives your mind rest from being self aware. You are given like a moment of pure enlightenment, which turns into
Hmm.
laughter. And I just
Yeah.
love that about those three comedians, especially because they create worlds. They're not observational humor. They're more like surreal world building kind
Hmm.
of stuff. And I
Yeah.
just love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw emo. I don't know, probably 5, 6 years ago. He opened for Weird Al,
Yeah, I saw him on that too, on that
and he was
tour.
in Lancaster of all.
Uh-huh.
So it was great hearing Amish Paradise in Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hung out with Emo after that because I went to see Al and was backstage and I told Emo about my theory about the way he does comedy and the way it breaks your brain and all that. And he was so fascinated by that idea. He was just like, really? Is that really what's happening? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really satisfying to
Yeah.
talk to him about it.
And then Stephen Wright, I saw, but you
Wow.
know what? And that was probably 5, 6 years ago. And that was in Bethlehem. But you know what? I like Stephen Wright, but that was not the best comedy show I've seen. And I know
Hmm.
maybe I just wasn't in, you got to be in the mood or you got to be into it for comedy.
Yeah,
And
and
just his one-liners, I'm like after like I'm serious, like 30 minutes of it, I'm like I couldn't wait for.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Mitch Hedberg was a little better with
yeah, I
like
like him. The
a
late.
little more generous with the setup, and than Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright just, Rodney
He's so
Dangerfield.
dry and so I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Rodney Dangerfield's a little like Stephen Wright in that sort of like just bam, 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 bam,
mhm.
bam, kind of not fast, but just like here is a complete thought, bam, that's done. Okay, now here's another
Yeah,
one, that's done.
yeah.
Yeah.
My
So
favorite comedian is Steve Martin. Yeah.
yeah, and you know what's great about Steve Martin? He's never told a joke. He's
Uh-huh.
just acts weird. He's
Yeah.
just silly.
Yeah.
He does not tell jokes.
And maybe that's why I have this odd sense because from when I don't know how young I was, have memories of like being 10 or 11 again. When I think you're pretty impressionable at that age, even younger. But
Yeah.
my dad, I remember him taking his car to get fixed, and they had the radio on, and they were playing Steve Martin on the local radio. And that's the first time I heard of him. And then I never got to see him until recently. I saw the last 3 tours when they came to Bethlehem, him and Martin Short.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And I
Wow.
took a different friend with me each time. Yeah.
How different were those three shows? Were they pretty much the same, or was there?
They were, they were pretty much the same, but it wasn't the same. It was a variation on, and there is a break in the show. It's like seeing an old variety show on TV or something.
Yeah, right.
Not that they were doing skits, but they had a break where Steve came out with his band, so you got to
Yeah.
hear a little concert. And I remember the first show I saw, Martin Short came out in wearing a tights and just doing something where
Yeah, he was like singing on the piano. I
yeah,
saw
and
the
Steve comes out and goes, what are you doing, like in the middle of his.
yeah.
It was
I saw the streaming version of it. It was
oh,
great.
okay, yeah,
Yeah. The other show you might like if you like that is Oh Hello with
okay.
John Mulaney and oh God, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Nate. Anyway, I can't remember. But yeah,
Okay.
it's called Oh Hello.
Oh,
And
hello, I'm
it's
gonna write that down.
so funny. So good. I think Steve
Yep.
Martin was a guest on there's a version of the Oh Hello performance. They would have celebrity guests on it at some point, and Steve Martin did it
Okay.
at one point.
I can't do an interview with you without asking a little bit about the presidents of the United
Yes.
States of America.
Love that band.
And I want to talk about this song Peaches. It is an earworm. I'll start like singing it, and then my wife starts singing it, and I want to know about the song Peaches. I want to know like what you remember about how you first came with the idea of writing a song, whether it's exciting or not, what your story,
Yeah.
the process for that song.
Well, it starts with a wonderful combination of psychedelic drugs and females.
Okay.
So, or female, a female.
Okay.
So I was living in Boston, and I was in a band, or not in a band yet, but I was hanging out with another busker named Mary Lou Lord.
Yes.
So we
I know
both
her.
would, but yeah, we'd busk in Harvard Square, and we would, if I was walking by and I wasn't working and she was, I would give her a bathroom break and take her spot, and she would do the same for me. And we were friendly and everything, and I started to develop a little bit of a crush on her. So, of course, the best thing to do when you have a crush on somebody is to take LSD and go tell them,
Mhm.
which I tried to do. I got to her house, and her house was this canary yellow Victorian house, kind of like the house that Tweety Bird lived in the Warner
Mhm.
Brothers cartoons. But it's in the middle of this like low industrial brown kind of neighborhood with machine shops, and it's just very, very psychedelic to begin with. So I'm feeling the effects of the drugs. I try to go up, I knock on her door. Nobody's home. Nobody comes to the door. She's not home. So I turn around and I go down to the front gate, and there's a peach tree in her yard, and a bunch of peaches have fallen off. And I'm like literally doing what I say I'm doing in the song, squishing rotten peaches in my fist, make a little room for an ant to hide.
And if I had my little way, I'd peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. I took a little nap with a roots all twist, squished a rotten peach in my fist, and dreamed about you, woman. I poke my finger down inside, make a little room for an ant to hide. Nature's candy in my hand, or can, or pie.
I'm just tripping and playing with peaches, and eventually I'm like, well, I'm gonna go elsewhere. This is not happening the way I hoped.
Yeah.
So I have this experience of doing that with me, but it wasn't a song. It was just a thing I did. I moved to Seattle. I was at a bus stop waiting to go see my then girlfriend, which was going to become my first wife. And a man walked by the bus stop wearing a big black shiny overcoat and black beard, and he was mumbling to himself as he passed me, I'm moving to the country, I'm going to eat a lot of
Really?
peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm going to eat a lot of peaches, over and over and over. And
Wow.
it sparked the memory of the Boston
Peach tree.
experience. I go home and I write the first, the verse and the chorus, the verses and the chorus. I show it to the band, and Dave Dieterer actually is the one that wrote the whole end part where we kind of stop and it's like, da-na-na-na-na, millions of peaches, peaches for me. That's Dave. So I love that song too, because it was like a Lennon, McCartney, BALLEW, Dieterer kind of co-write. And that's really how it came about, was this weird combination of drugs, girls, and a homeless man. Now it turns out that I think what the homeless man was doing, the presumed homeless man, I don't actually know if he was homeless or not, but I think he was taking pieces from a song by John Prine. The lines weren't connected in the John Prine song, but they were part of a chorus of a song. And I think the guy was kind of editing it down or something. Because years later, as we're in the throes of touring on the album, I happened to be told by somebody or heard that song and went, oh, there's a little bit of peaches in there. But it seemed,
maybe he said going to the country, and then in another part,
yeah, and another part,
peaches, or
yeah, something like that, like gonna eat a lot of peaches. So but it seemed to me to be kind of far enough removed from his version, musically nothing like his version. That. So I just let it go, and then, but we always kind of were waiting, like, ooh, what if the other shoe drops and we get a cease and desist, or we have to get sued by John Prine?
Yeah,
never happened. But then we played in the 2010s, we did a show in Canada. And when we got to the airport in Canada and got picked up by the van for the venue and taken to the hotel and all that, the guy driving us around for the whole weekend was John Prine's former manager. And I thought any second now he's going to call us out, and he never did.
He's going to hand you paper.
Yeah, right. And so you're Chris Ballou, you've been served. Anyway, so yeah, it's a storied song, and but I really do love actually eating peaches. I've got peaches in the fridge right now, so it's also true.
Yeah, I've made recently. I made a peach hard cider.
Oh yeah.
I just started making my own beer, my own cider. As far as the cider, I use an peach extract. So but I want to get to where maybe I'm using, real peaches. I'm sure it would taste better than that.
Yeah, might. Yeah.
One more thing. Let's see. You're on Facebook, Instagram, but I noticed, and I like that a lot of people, because you'll post a video sometimes, you were playing a 2-string guitar, which I think you played on the debut album.
Yep.
Right. But you'll have comments in there about the presidents reuniting. Yeah. And I like that, because you're sitting here right now talking to me, but I'm not going to ask you because I know the answer, but I like that you do not comment on the comments.
Right.
Because you would spend your whole day back and forth, right? Yeah,
it's a slippery slope. I want to, I like connecting with people. And I love, in reality, the bid for the presidents to reunite and do a tour, it's born out of love. It's like
Yeah.
it can feel a little pressury and a little bit like I'm being harassed
Yeah. Yeah.
a very small amount. But I quickly remind myself this is an expression of just, love, and I appreciate it on those terms for sure. And I'm a big fan of never say never. Who knows what's going to
Yeah.
happen? It could happen, but it's not likely. I mean, all of us have our like physical issues. We're in our 60s now.
Yeah.
Jason's in his late 50s.
Yeah. If it was going to happen, it would happen soon or on your own terms too. You don't want people telling you you guys need to get back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we broke up between 98 and 2003, we did a lot of creative stuff together. We started a band with Sir Mix-a-Lot. We made a
Mhm.
President's record with actual 6-string and 4-string guitars. There were all these songs that didn't fit on 2 and 3-string. So we were collaborating with each other, but not really as the band playing the classic songs. And that reunion came about because of Chris Novoselic from
Okay.
Nirvana. He was getting an award at some sort of NARAS, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences event, and they wanted him to play live. And he called us up and was like, "Would you be my band? And we'll do."
Hmm.
We did a song he wrote. I think we did a Sex Pistols song and a Bo Diddley song and maybe one President song. It was the first time we thought he asked, "Would you appear as the presidents and back me up?" And we're like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And it just sort of planted a seed because we had to rehearse a bit for it. And the act of rehearsing, during rehearsal, we played some old president songs. It was like, whoa, it's time to, these are great. What are we doing? Let's go.
Yeah.
And then we got back, we were together again for another 12 years
Yeah.
after that. So, yeah. But, in the course of just sort of writing the different arcs of life and acknowledging when they're on the ascension, when they've plateaued, and when they're on the descent, I think it's really valuable to for peace of mind to accept when something is shutting down because something new will come out of that space. And I just think
Yeah.
the presidents have done I think we've
Yeah.
done the arc.
Or accept it might not happen.
Casper Baby Hand Pants had its arc. This new stuff has
Hmm.
its arc. I don't know what's after this. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it'll have an arc and I'll just follow it. So
Yeah.
for now, that's kind of the vibe,
Yeah.
is respecting the descent of the arc.
Because I can see you guys playing with other, on a tour with a couple other bands from the 90s.
Yeah,
Um,
we've been
yeah.
invited to do those, but we had a philosophy back in the day, which was we don't open up for anybody. We just play our own show, even
Yeah.
if it's much smaller,
Okay.
because that's the real loving vibe, like is when you're playing for people who really want to see you. We made a few exceptions. Tom Petty asked us to do 2 shows at the Fillmore. Couldn't say no to Tom Petty. Soundgarden asked us to do 2 shows in Seattle right before they broke up because their opener had to cancel. We co-headlined a couple tours with Supergrass. We loved them. So we made a few exceptions, but
Yeah.
in general, no
Yeah.
opening up.
There's a tour now going on with Howard Jones, 80s,
Yeah.
and it's Wang Chung and
Ah.
modern English.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who I got to know the bass player from Modern English. I interviewed him, and
Yeah.
believe it or not, a friend of mine, her best friend, is married to the bass player. But anyway, they open, they're the first band. I think Wang Chung should be honestly the first band. Anyway. But they do a 20-minute set. If you guys were to, I mean, that
Oh,
might
I
be
see.
appealing to do a shorter. You're not doing a full hour or long or 45
Yeah.
minutes.
No, that's kind of
But
interesting. It's also
yeah.
occurred to me to maybe do an acoustic thing where we have a set that's a back
Hmm.
porch. We're all on this back porch
Oh
playing.
yeah.
And then we have an LED or like a display over the stage with the lyrics so everybody can sing. That's kind of occurred to me, but then that's just not what we really were originally, like
Yeah.
those songs spark because they are being played enthusiastically with loud guitars. You know, that's what makes them explode.
Yeah, otherwise you could be playing the banjo doing versions, on the.
Yeah, you could. Yep. Yeah. Could work for some songs, but.
So I think that's all I have.
Okay, great.
And I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. I love the new album. I always look forward to new music.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess all I would add is if people want to see what I'm up to as a good landing platform is chrisballew.org. That's CHRISBALLEW.org. And there's music on that website that is not available anywhere else and is available to download for free. There's all kinds of other collaborations and old tapes and weird sonic collages and sampledelic groovy stuff and ambient music and artwork and just all kinds of goodies that were gathering dust on a hard drive. And I just like, I'll just put them on the internet. So there's a lot of places to explore, or a lot of things to explore in that space.
I have one quick question, because I did look up the Giraffes, and I think it was pretty much a made-up band that you had, and you had puppets on the cover, and but then I think you added more music to what the band was. I want to know, do you know how many songs you've written? Do you have an estimate? I mean, I'm sure you have it logged somewhere.
Well, I guess if you want to differentiate between written and released, because I've written maybe something like 3,000.
Okay.
But a lot of those are just fragmentary. But if they're finished and released, gosh, I'm gonna venture to say with Casper, and I'm gonna say, well, Casper I know was 362.
Okay. Wow.
Presidents, I'm guessing, is somewhere in the 100 world. So 4 or 5, maybe like
600.
I was gonna say 1,000.
Okay.
Something in the 1,000 world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Steve Allen, you probably know what I'm going to say, claimed that he had written 8,500 songs.
Oh, really?
But not recorded. Written's different, like you said.
Yeah, written's different. Yeah.
I mean, you could write a 1-minute song and maybe it's not finished, but you can say, yeah, that's a song, that's a song. So
yeah, it's copyrightable.
Yeah. So thank you. I hope you feel better. I know you were going for a walk today. Maybe you didn't go for your walk.
Yep.
But
I'm going to do my walk.
Yeah.
Although we have wildfire smoke here, so walking is. Oh,
wow.
Got to wear a mask outside right now.
Well, be safe.
Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
All I wanna do is disappear like a ghost on vacation, leaving the void alone takes everything that I've got. I do not meditate on my new empty space. All I wanna do is disappear like a ghost on vacation.
Today's interview was recorded at the Did You Say
7
Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, our host site Podbean, YouTube, and mostly anywhere you listen to podcasts. Visit our No Good Music Wix website for quick access to some of our interviews and merch like t-shirts and mugs. And as always, thank you for listening.
The songs Newborn Human, Hollow Filling, Peaches, Give In, Get Up, Use with Permission from Chris Ballew. Exit music by the band 99%.